Hello and welcome to the Data Conversations newsletter with myself, Craig Stewart. I'm actually sitting in the UK at the moment with my first international trip since December 2019. It felt pretty weird to be on a plane, but fantastic to be able to travel again. And joining me today for a conversation around the trends in AI. I couldn't think of anybody better than Johan Steyn, who's the chair for the Special Interest Group in AI and Robotics at the IITPSA, author, Business Day contributor, general nice guy. Johan, thanks so much for joining me. How are you doing?
Rick, thank you. It's a lovely privilege to be here and to be part of what you're doing. I'm doing well. I've had at 12 o'clock today. I thought it was 4 p.m. because I've already had 7 meetings, but it's going well. And yeah, it's great to chat with you. Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, probably 7 meetings and 12 cups of coffee, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And it's almost Scotch time.
Yeah. Oh, always time for a Scotch. So, all good. Johan, thanks for joining me. So this is going to be going out in our Data Conversations newsletter. And, we cover a lot of things around data management, data governance, data quality, leadership, etc. And AI is always a hot topic. And I think all those sorts of areas really feed into this sort of growth and drive and trend towards AI. But I wanted to chat to you and just find out, what are some of the trends that are happening in AI that you're seeing? You do a lot of research in this, you speak a lot about it. And as I said, no one better place, I guess, to kind of share some thoughts.
Thanks, sir. Heck, look, on the one hand, look, I often think if people know what I know, they'll never invite me because I'm so daunted by how much it's changing and how much I need to keep on reading and researching. Look, one of the trends is that people still don't get it. When I consult with business leaders, C-suite, large corporations, locally, people misunderstand this technology because of all the hype. I often show a picture of the Terminator bot and a cute little looking bot, and I say which most accurately identifies with AI, and almost always people will say it's the evil looking smoke out of the nostrils, kind of take all our jobs thing. So one of the reasons I think AI initiatives fail is because the C-suite itself does not understand it. Now, they don't have to become AI experts, machine learning engineers, of course not, but they have to see how AI can impact their balance sheet. Of course, the impact of this technology, the advance of this technology is incredible. I also see a great convergence. It's no longer just AI or machine learning or IoT or robotics process automation. It's really, I think, the lines between all this technology is busy blurring into this ecosystem of technologies. So the trends are that technological advance is incredible. The understanding and the way it's implemented is still lagging behind a great deal, I think.
Yeah. And one of the things, I guess the types of people I typically have conversations with and that attend the events and things like that are typically your banking, your telco, your retail type people, high volumes of customers. They're looking at AI, maybe from a fraud point of view or to understand their customer better. But what I see, and I think that's where maybe there's this misunderstanding of this is what it can do. Or it's very much just the solution for that sort of environment. But if you look at the way that it's working in medical technology and vaccine development, as an example, AI has so many more uses than just how to drive the profits of a business.
Absolutely. Look, and I can understand that from a business leadership point of view. You've got shareholders, you've got KPIs, you've got numbers to hit. AI can definitely help there if you use it right. And often AI is not really the solution. It's sometimes just ways of working, simple process automation, rules, almost lean process engineering. But I'm very driven about the societal impact, and most of, I think, what I write about is that I often think about my 8-year-old boy. What future will we leave him? Will he look at me back when he's 30 or 40 and say, Dad, you and your generation had an opportunity to make this right, but you let this technology run amok, So, but yes, medical technology when it comes to breast cancer, prostate cancer, lung scans, Elon Musk and Neuralink implanting for the first time a device into a human brain this year. Alzheimer's and brain injuries, spinal injuries. On the other hand, what about privacy, reading and influencing my thoughts? Education as well. So I'm definitely an optimist, but I do think we cannot be caught asleep at the wheel, so to speak, because this technology, more than any other technological revolution before, can immensely impact us positively, but will most likely impact us negatively because of human nature, our territorial selfishness, And we see this US-China issue at the moment, US, Russia, and so forth. So great things can be done with this technology. We have to collectively, all of us, make sure it is steered in the right direction. This is what keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing. It's kind of, you said earlier on about the, the bot and the evil sort of view and things like that. Do you think just the bot image in general, there's always kind of that, stock image of a humanoid type thing with a finger going out. And I actually said, I think it was the end of 2016, perhaps, going back a few years, saying one of the trends in the data analytics space was that people will still view AI as that sort of humanoid type bot. But actually, as you say, it's much more of a business process enabler, from an efficiency point of view, sort of taking out, high volume tasks that could be done very, quicker, and allow then, I guess, the people managing those processes to be more strategic. And that's what, do you see that is one of the trends? It's kind of like, let the humans make better decisions and let the machines actually run the sort of monotonous processes.
But we are already robots. A lot of your repetitive tasks that a lot of us do, but especially if you think of back office administrative kind of people, it is a mind-numbing repetitive job. We are already robots. We shouldn't even fear it. Yeah. The idea is to take the robot out of the human, to do those things we don't want to do, and to set us free to do the things we're good at, which is empathy, understanding, problem solving, and the like. And there's a term called anthropomorphism, which means we ascribe human attributes to dogs or other beings, or to the deities, whatever we see them as being. Anthropos in Greek meaning humankind, and morphos meaning change into the image. And the anthropomorphism topic I've written about a lot, and it's an interesting topic when it comes to AI, because if you look at ancient humans and what archaeologists have discovered, we see these gods of fertility, like big-breasted women, statues, or gods of war, strong men with swords, and so forth. We've always tried to understand the deities throughout the millennia as looking like us, the eyes, the nostrils, the mouth, and so forth. We're doing the same with AI. And I think it's a human nature thing. In order to understand things, we try to understand things we don't understand. We ascribe human attributes to them. So you're right. I mean, if you Google right now AI robotics, you will see humanoid looking figures, even though AI is essentially code. It doesn't look like us, and it doesn't have to look like us. But that brings up the topic that, I think ethics and philosophy is most likely the greatest need when it comes to our future in this tech, and not AI engineers per se necessarily. Opening up a can of worms, if we think of re-engineering babies, if you think of the brain implants I've already mentioned, it is going to get us as a species to face things we've never had to face before. So we should never just have a technological conversation. It is what does it mean to be human conversation, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, and I think we could probably talk about it for another hour, is around the ethics in AI, because I think that is one of the most essential sort of areas to really look at and make sure that there's proper frameworks in place and committees and various things. I mean, obviously, I want to stifle what it can do and the innovation and everything, but I think it is such a powerful technology that it needs to have some sort of ethics around it.
Absolutely. Listen, Craig, so there's always a balance between regulation and governance and innovation. If you think of the banking space, there's so much regulation, and post 2007, 2008, you kind of understand why, but it's definitely stifling innovation. But you also don't want to just open the barn doors and let the cows run wild, So finding that balance is important. But I think because of the power of this technology, like nothing we've seen before, we have to regulate it. One of my worries about South Africa and perhaps a lot of other developing countries is our regulations around this technology is very limited. We've got POPIA, the protection of private information, which is good, very aligned to GDPR in Europe. But when it comes to responsible AI, ethical AI, biases and code and so forth, we've got very little. So we have to make a change there. And it's not just government, it's society, it's business, all working together. But, I can have the same exact credit score as you, but I just live on the wrong side of the track. So the biases in the data will not give me access to the same credit. Or for that matter, healthcare. And healthcare is a lot more closer to my skin than not having enough money, you know. So the regulation of this technology without totally stifling it, I don't think anyone's gotten it right, but it is a huge topic we're going to have to keep on debating and thinking about.
Absolutely. Maybe as a teaser for the next video that we do, you can just share maybe your 2 or 3 key points that people should consider when putting AI into their business from an ethics point of view.
Absolutely. Firstly, it's about people, not technology. It's about your staff and your customers, but your staff in particular. People fear this technology, and naturally so. Whenever you speak about bots, and I don't know who gave the name robotic process automation, because it's code and it's not a thing that's going to walk down the aisle and sit at your desk. But it's about unleashing the potential in your people rather than replacing them. Second thing I would say is AI is very likely not the answer to most of the business problems you are facing. And thirdly, maybe the society, maybe it links to the first one, but the societal impact, the future of our children, the way we can educate, the way, if you think of I often speak and write about the dusty rural streets of South Africa, because I've done a lot of work in the townships. I've lived in many of the townships around Joburg and Pretoria, and saw firsthand what people are dealing with. You know, we can debate from this high throne of comfort as so-called middle upper class people about AI, blah blah blah, but when you don't have electricity, when you study at candlelight, when you don't have connectivity, when you're part of the digital divide. So that's what I'm saying is, let's get off our high horses and try and impact the little children in our streets, because we can't, Craig, then I mean, why have any of these conversations? You know, so I'm passionate about it, and if people are not, or they're offended, I'm sorry, but I want to leave. I've lived in the UK. I've decided to move back here 10, 12 years ago. I still think it was a good decision. I'm still more positive about our country than negative, but this technology can help us do it right if all of us work together. I can get very preachy about this, but I'm going to pause there for now.
No, that's fine. Let's call it impassioned rather than preachy, which I totally agree.
Okay, thank you.
So everybody watching, certainly put down some comments below as to maybe, you know, some of the areas you'd like Johan to talk about, or where you're seeing AI for good. It'd be great to see some examples, and maybe we can get you on the show as well. But Johan, thanks so much for joining me and sharing your thoughts. I look forward to chatting to you again. We'll certainly continue to do this. But always great to have you involved.
Absolutely. And I love following your work, Craig, and I'm very supportive of what you do. So yeah, I hope people found this valuable, and I look forward to whatever next you're going to produce. So keep on with the good work, please.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Johan.
Thank you.
Thank you.